Welcome back, everybody. This week in America, thank you for being with us, listening to the program today. It's a fascinating program. Talented author Frank Tropea is back with us on the program to talk about his new book, Go Ask the Dead, the story of a love affair gone dangerously wrong between a very psychic girl, Amanda Mannings, and a Gettysburg Civil War ghost named William, who was a young, rather handsome Confederate officer when he, like thousands of others with him, killed in that infamous battle. Frank is a Harvard graduate with a major in literature, a minor in psychology, became a member of Mensa and Intertel. He writes both poetry and novels. Frank Tropea, our guest on the program, author of Go Ask the Dead, the tale of a girl in a haunted land of civil war and slavery. Frank, welcome back to the program, sir. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate being here.
This is going to be fun to talk about this. Well, it's great to have you back. I love the work that you do. The new book is called Go Ask the Dead. This is a great story. First of all, what was the inspiration? Where did this story idea come from?
Well, since I was a little kid, when Halloween was always more important to me than Christmas, I've always been intrigued by the paranormal, by the possibility of ghosts, hauntings, poltergeist activity, things of that nature. I've always been intrigued. And later on in my adult years, I kind of studied the paranormal. Once I was a reader of Fate magazine that I think is still published, but I haven't seen this in a long time. And other things. On TV, I saw One Step Beyond and programs of that nature. I liked horror movies, if they weren't too gory, more psychological, like
yes.
the Rod Sterling pieces,
exactly,
the ones with Vincent Price, who was a master. He was oh God, his poem, stories based on Edgar Allan Poe's works fascinated me.
Yeah, Vincent Price was one of a kind. Yes, he was just such a great writer, performer. He had this personality, didn't he? He sort of captivated the room or the screen wherever you were seeing him.
Oh yes. I mean, I think his best works were The Fall of the House of Usher and what was it? The Mask of the Red Death.
Oh, yes.
The photography, the scenes, they were totally artistic and surreal.
And I had the pleasure
become real.
Yeah, and I had the pleasure years ago of doing an interview with him, a television program, and he's just as nice as could be. It was a great conversation with a very talented man. Another talented man is the author of the book Go Ask the Dead. Frank Tropea is with us on the program. So the interest in the paranormal, that's where this whole idea came from. It's a gothic tale of love gone dangerously wrong. Talk about that aspect of it. You take this background in the paranormal and you tie it with a story that many of us are familiar with, the Civil War battle.
Well, you have to understand, this girl who's the central protagonist of the story, Amanda Mannings, she was born, she doesn't know it until later, into a very psychic, haunted family. She has a great aunt whom she has no idea about, named Aunt Lavinia is the opposite. She's a Roman Catholic. Her younger sister, Aunt Eliza. Aunt Eliza is a practicing witch and medium. And Aunt Eliza can see the dead and interact with them. I have a little biographical information of her in the book, where she was left at the altar, spurned, and she made a vow that no other man would reject her. So she started using her mediumistic talents to consort with the dead, and she moved her mansion. She built a mansion near Gettysburg, the battle near the Battle of Gettysburg. And she consorts with mostly Confederate ghosts, mostly Confederate soldier ghosts who were killed in the battle. In fact, and she's not at all discreet as to what her intentions are about these male ghosts. She has relations with them, intimate relations with them, And through her when two ministers caught on to what she was doing in the town of Gettysburg and tried to have her banned, she used her magical powers to destroy them, or really plague them. And in fact, the ministers and their congregations, a few of whom died, had to move out of town fast.
Yes.
This is a powerful witch.
Yes.
And through her psychic knowledge, when little Amanda was born to a niece of hers illegitimately, Aunt Eliza knew this was to be another witch of her powers, of her own powers, if not beyond. Now, Eliza's older sister, Lavinia, is the complete opposite. She's very chaste. She's very holy. She's a Roman Catholic, etc. And she despises Aunt Eliza for what she does. But Eliza made her fortune even through the Great Depression by using her occult talents to know which stocks to play, and she made abundant stocks even during the Great Depression. So the family came from money anyway. So Amanda was born illegitimate. Her mother had a bad case of nymphomania. Her mother was very beautiful, blonde, but totally selfish. She had this child and she wasn't physically abusive, but she just totally emotionally neglected her and shoved her aside. The one who loved and raised Amanda was this black cook and maidservant named Delia. And I hope that when people read the book, that they're not offended by my giving Delia a heavy black Southern dialect, because Delia has been raised just 1 or 2 generations away from slavery, and she's had no chance for an education. This is how she really talks.
Yes.
I hope no one takes offense. But Delia is very smart and crafty in her own right, without an education. But I'm getting away from the subject matter.
It's
Amanda
fascinating the different characters you have and how well developed these all are, and they unfold in the book. Go Ask the Dead. Really intricate characters. That has to be fun writing characters like this. They're multi-layered.
Oh yes, I had fun writing about Aunt Eliza. I had fun with it, and describing the antics of the mother.
Oh, yes.
Well, anyway. Yes. The mother, because she does come from money, she does finally, and despite her reputation, she marries this corporate lawyer who makes plenty of money of his own. But she doesn't alter her behavior with having lovers. So naturally, her husband finds out about it and is besides himself. And they argue incessantly, but she doesn't stop until finally the woman disappears completely. Naturally, the police investigate the husband, but he has such a good background being a corporate lawyer that they can't, they don't consider him a suspect. But later on, Amanda discovers that he did indeed kill her mother, and she discovers the remains in the cellar, which, by the way, is haunted by some black slaves who died there during the Civil War.
This is just a fascinating story with all of the different plots, subplots that you've got going. The book is Go Ask the Dead, the tale of a girl in a haunted land of Civil War and slavery. Frank Tropea, our guest on the program. The book's available at Amazon. You can click on directly to get information on the book by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Talk about the girl Amanda. She changes, or we see a development of her in the program, in the book as it progresses. Do you like Amanda all through the story you're telling of her?
No, well, look, she's essentially a very nice, kind girl. She's essentially a good person, but when her great aunt Lavinia leaves her entire fortune when she dies, she kind of lets the money and the status go to her head. And she had a boyfriend in high school named Craig Weston, who was handsome and very nice, but she wasn't really, he wanted to marry her right after high school, and she said that they were both too young, which was wise on her part. But her great aunt Lavinia thought the match would be very good a couple of years down the road. But during her stay in her aunt's house, what Aunt Eliza has done on the side, knowing that Amanda was living with Lavinia, she sent her handsomest ghost there by the name of William. And she knows the girl can see ghosts too. So this girl sees the ghost of William, and he's rather dashing and handsome. And unlike a lot of ghosts, he can be very physical. So Amanda quickly, and he's very charming, and Amanda falls head over heels in love with him, and his lovemaking is like divine. So she quickly becomes addicted. So anyway, after Lavinia dies and Amanda is left with her fortune, Craig has gone to college. Amanda's considering it just for her own self-position, just for something to do with him. In fact, she's obsessed with William. So anyway, but comes the time where Amanda thinks, why can't I have a child? I've always wanted to have a child that I'd show love to, like my own mother never showed love to me. And she kind of gets it that William, being dead, can't give her a child, no matter how much they make love. Yes. So she visits Craig at his college. They go with different names to this grand hotel, make love passionately, and she very stupidly, in my opinion, tells him, he senses that her heart isn't in it. And he asks her point blank, is this someone else? And she admits to him she has another lover, but she wants a child by him. He doesn't understand, and she tells him first she demonstrates that she does have this occult talent. She levitates a wine glass off the bureau near their bed, levitates it, and sends it flying off into a wall opposite their bed. So she shows him that hint of power, and she says, I am a witch, and it's hereditary in my family. And she tells about William, how she really loves him, but she can't have it. She needs Craig, and Craig is so heartbroken because he was really in love with Amanda. He yells at her, and then he starts bawling his eyes out. And instead of feeling pity for him, she just thinks he's kind of weak and gets up and leaves, as he tells her to.
Okay, yes.
So anyway, within a couple of months after that, she discovers she's pregnant. And not that she doesn't have the money and status to get away with it, but she does consider the child she's carrying, and the kid should have a proper name. So she asks Craig, she calls him up, tells him she's pregnant, and would he marry her? And Craig says, will I be the only one in your life? And she tells him, we'll see. I can't shut William away, but I swear there'll be no other living man but you. So, I mean, in a way, she's honest, but yes. Craig is so in love with her. He thinks he being a living man and William being just a ghost, that eventually Amanda will choose him over William.
Yes.
And he also assumes that Amanda will be at least a bit discreet about the whole thing, in front of him anyway. And he also marries her because she's an heiress, very beautiful, blonde. And it was his family. He came from a family of blue bloods, but for the past generation or two, they've been kind of without money. And it would increase his family status. This is the old South, remember?
Yes.
So he marries her. And on their wedding night, after they make love, when she thinks that Craig is asleep, she cheats on him with William in their bed. Craig wakes up, is so infuriated because William has materialized and he sees him. He punches Amanda in the face. It leaves some bruises. And then he goes for William, punching and pummeling William. And Craig's strong, but William's a ghost. He can't feel physical pain. Not only that, but he has supernatural powers. And he starts getting the better of Craig and starts strangling him. And Amanda just looks on. She's so enraged at Craig for hitting her that she just looks on for a while as Craig is being strangled. And finally, before he nearly dies, she shouts to William to stop it. Let him live.
That's just such amazing characters and a storyline. And you've talked about some of the scenes. They've been described as some pretty wild scenes. In fact, you might call some of them salacious scenes. Talk about that, and we're rapidly running out of time, but I love the story and all the people involved here. Talk about the salacious scenes that you have in the book and how to know what's necessary and when to stop before you might be pushing it a little bit too far.
Well, some of it undoubtedly is gratuitous. But personally, I think sex can be a lot of fun, and reading about it can be enjoyable to a lot of readers.
Yes.
If it's done in the right way, not pornography, but just done in an artistic way, let us say.
Right.
And I think in the plot, it's germane to the plot, because Amanda's mother suffered from nymphomania, and Amanda does have some of her blood and genes. And she's a very passionate girl. Unlike her mother, though, when Amanda's in love, she is entirely faithful. So I think that the sensuality is inherent in the plot, just to characterize Amanda.
Yes.
I mean, and as she really is, and why she is that way. I mean, I opened the book with a scene of her stepfather, after he has killed the mother a couple months afterwards, seducing a 15-year-old Amanda, taking her innocence. But Amanda, even though she knows it's wrong, kind of like, the guy's really handsome, well built, she kind of likes it. But then when she discovers that he did kill her mother, he tries to kill her, and fortunately, there was this ghost named Lily, who's her major guide, and Lily had told her to bring a gun down to the cellar. And when the guy tries to strangle her in the cellar, she produces the gun and shoots him, and he dies. Not before he issues a little saying, "You're your mother's daughter," and she hates that. She hates that, but, what can I say? There's a lot of sex and sensuality in the story, but I think it's all germane to the plot.
It sounds like it moves it all along, and I've got a couple minutes left in the program, going by way too quickly. Frank Tropea, our guest in the program. The book is Go Ask the Dead, the tale of a girl in a haunted land of Civil War and slavery. Without giving a whole lot away, I understand this is an ending that the readers will enjoy.
Oh, I think it will. Number one, it'll be a supreme surprise on two counts, which I'm not going to delineate because I don't want to give it away. But I think the readers will be pleasantly surprised and very much love the ending. It's a Hollywood ending.
We've come to expect that in Frank's books, and that we will not be disappointed, I'm sure, in this. You mentioned before that part of this was capturing the South's collective psychology, mythology in the book, and you did an excellent job of that.
I think so. The South is haunted by slavery, which it was so evil and atrocious a system, and they had it for centuries. And that surely must have left a lot of bad energy there, even though they've changed since then. But the Civil War happened on their land. Atlanta was burned to the ground. I mean, I think the entire surviving Confederate population had a bad case of PTSD from the Civil War, and the scars remained for generations.
Yes.
And they're just beginning to get over it now, with the South becoming more prosperous, and but unfortunately, I think the South is a very haunted land because of these tragedies.
Well, and you tap into that, it sounds like, certainly in your book, Go Ask the Dead. About a minute left in the program. You're working once again with Reader's Magnet and getting this book ready to take out to the public and talking about it.
Yeah.
What's that experience been like?
Oh, they've been wonderful. They've been wonderful. I don't mind investing with them because they've been so courteous and kind and helpful, and their work is so excellent. I recommend them highly.
With us on the program, once again, Frank Tropea. His new book is called Go Ask the Dead, The Tale of a Girl in a Haunted Land of Civil War and Slavery. A fascinating read, as you can tell from our conversation. Trailer available, by the way, at YouTube. You can check Amazon, a link on our website, thisweekinamerica.us, to get more information on the book. Frank, it is always a pleasure to have you with us on the program. Always a chance to, a fun opportunity to get a look inside your mind as you're telling these stories, and the process as you're telling these stories, and the research that goes into this. It's always fascinating to have you with us on the program. The new book, Go Ask the Dead. Thank you so much for being with us. Best of luck, and hopefully we can do this again.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Maybe another time you'll interview me again. I love talking to you.
Thank you, and I love having you with us on the program. The book, Go Ask the Dead, The Tale of a Girl in a Haunted Land of Civil War and Slavery. Frank Tropea is our guest, the author. That's Tropea. Books at Amazon, link on directly at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after we pause with these messages.